Is that this 0.1% recovery, I must say, made me giggle a bit. I wanted to call for a recount immediately because I couldn't imagine how you measured that. Secondly, I wonder how much economics can actually be forecast and whether these people who pretend to know all about economics actually know anything about it at all, or whether they just sort of react to events. I don't think the economy or economics is an exact science. The nearest person I know, of course, is Vince Cable, who has predicted this over many years and is now saying what needs to be done about it.
And you don't even know whether he's right?
I don't even know whether he is absolutely right, but I think he's the one that people trust most.
Okay.
I don't think that huge cuts are going to do any good. They will cause massive unemployment. You're going to have to pay those people some sort of unemployment benefit.
I thought Nick Clegg talked about savage cuts.
Well, there's got to be cuts in the right place.
Savage cuts. Savage cuts in the wrong place are extremely painful.
But you have got to protect education and training. You really have, for the future. There is no question about that.
OK, let's hear from the man in the second row there at the back. You, sir, yes. Yes?
What worries me is that whichever party is returned in office in May, that the cuts, which I think will come, even though I tend to agree with the last speaker, will affect the poor more than those in the middle or higher income.
Do you agree with what Nigel Lawson said, that you've just got to have cuts, otherwise...
No, I don't, and I'm afraid I do remember his period of office, which was a sad time.
What do you remember?
My worry is that the poor will have to make do with skim milk, whereas the fat cats will continue to enjoy the cream.
OK. Jane Moore.
I agree with Douglas. I think there needs to be savage cuts. We are going to have to feel the burn, the pain at some point, and we might as well just get on with it because we're just delaying the inevitable. Of course, we mustn't cut the important things. Education is everything. And we must not cut education, but there are a million other things. If you just took the word quango out of the dictionary, you would save billions. British Potato Council, do we really need that? I don't think so. There are regional development agencies. I'm still not quite sure what they do. They cost us millions and millions and millions. Refurbishment of the MOD building. No, we don't need comfy chairs, really. I could sit down with a book and do it and save millions overnight. And today, what made me laugh most of all, it's only a small amount compared to what we're talking to tonight, but £2,500 spent on a leaflet telling Treasury officials how not to get stressed in the current financial crisis. Try being one of the 2.5 million unemployed.
But that's...
No, there, in the very front row. Thanks.
Yes, I'd like to direct my question to Mr Lawson, being the only panel member who's ever had a spitting image puppet made of himself.
No, I have.
Oh, right. Do you think the Bank of England base rate at 0.5% should stay for the next year or two?
I think for the time being, it is certainly right that they should stay at that level. How long, I don't know, nor does the Bank of England or the Monetary Policy Committee. They judge it a month at a time and so on and look forward. But I do say that for those who said, somebody said that they remember the sad time when I was Chancellor of the Exchequer, I can tell you there are a lot of people in this country who wish they were back in that sad time.
The Falklands War. For example.
Gordon Brown inherited an economy which was really in great shape, and he is leaving it. He is leaving it a complete mess. No government has caused so much trouble. But if, and talking about Bank of England, the Governor of the Bank of England is among those who said that we need to get a grip of the deficit straight away. However, if Ben Bradshaw is very anxious about the fragility, I think that was his term, then there is one way certainly he could help, and that is to persuade his colleagues to repeal the absurd Climate Change Act, which is causing a huge and unnecessary increase in the energy costs for the British economy, both consumers and business and industry. It is costing, on the government's own figures, the burden on the economy, and the government understated, of 18 billion
we might just
a year.
come to that later.
Right, OK.
So just mention that. I mean, I haven't yet decided what we're going to next, but I'll stop you there, and we'll move swiftly on to Ryan Lupton, please.
Do the revelations in the Iraq inquiry this week prove that we did indeed enter into an illegal war?
The toing and froing at the Chilcot Commission, do they prove that we did indeed enter into an illegal war? Jenny Tong?
Well, yes.
Yes, people are saying, but
yes.
Jenny Tong, what do you say?
I think we did, but, oh boy, I'd love to be on that panel tomorrow. Wouldn't we all?
Why would you want to be there?
Well, you could face Tony Blair, and I've faced him in Prime Minister's questions, and he's a very clever man, and he wriggles out of things, and he's clever, and he's fun, and he likes to make fun of you, so he's very difficult to get at. But after this week's evidence, you could say to that man, you made war on Iraq when the legality was dubious, to say the very least. People are going to argue about it for the rest of time. When the evidence was false and rubbish, and I saw the dodgy dossier, I actually read it. And the bits that weren't taken out of somebody's thesis in California was an actually direct lie, the 45 minutes. He gave us a lie in that dossier.
When you say you'd like to be there, what would you like to see happen to him? I mean, some people say he should be prosecuted at The Hague.
I'd just like to see him...
Would you want to see that?
I think that would be a very difficult thing to do. But I would say public opinion was against him, the European Union was against him, NATO didn't support this war, and we all know the United Nations didn't. I want to say to Tony Blair, you need to uphold international law. We have to uphold international law. So do America, so do Israel, so do all our friends. You cannot have international law upheld just by the people we like.
OK, thank you very much. Douglas Murray, you agree with that?
Well, no. It does strike me, though, when Jenny Tong talks about how much she'd like to interrogate Tony Blair, that she exercises a different scale of values in London than she would, say, when she's meeting the head of Hamas in Damascus last year and praising the head of a terrorist group whose organisation carries out terrorist atrocities, which are genuine breaches of international law, every single opportunity it has.
What about Fallujah in Iraq?
Well,
what about Fallujah, Douglas?
You talk about Tony Blair facing it. When you sit down with somebody like Khaled Mashal, you praise him.
Fallujah, I did not praise him.
You said,
I said he was worth talking to, and he was actually quite.
You said he was shrewd, plausible, and actually very likely.
All right, let's get back to the question.
I can show it to you.
All right, no, Douglas, maybe Jenny.
But if we get back onto
maybe afterwards.
And we need to uphold international law. That is my main point.
Jenny Tom, you've made your point.
I wish you told Karen Mashal.
Douglas Murray, can you answer the question?
The fact is that the international law debate on this is, unfortunately, a terrible red herring. The fact is that the decision on when this country and our allies go to war is not decided by international law. International law is evolving. People disagree on it. As we saw this week, even the Attorney General disagrees with himself and changes his opinions on it. That's because this is an evolving body of law. And for people who think that all we need now is to, as it were, prove the Iraq war was illegal, I just say the following things to you. The Kosovo intervention that saved 1 million ethnic Albanian lives was an illegal venture. The Bosnian intervention by the UN was an illegal... Sierra Leone was an illegal venture by any of these things. So the idea that all we have to do here is to say that Iraq was illegal, Tony Blair's guilty, this actually addresses none of the important points. There are all sorts of disagreements about Iraq. People like me who supported the intervention are unlikely to change our minds, and many people who oppose it are unlikely to change theirs. But we should try, I think, honestly, as a country, to try to get beyond this debate. Try to get beyond the debate of basically vilification to the point at which people will only be happy once Tony Blair is in the dock and convicted. That isn't going to happen. Right. We should look at where Iraq is now, help Iraq now, and try to make sure, where there were mistakes made, that they can never be made again. But the kind of rhetoric that's going round about it really is not the way to stop a repeat.
Man in the second row there, yes.
Me?
Yes, you.
I think the biggest problem we've got here is not whether you agree that we were to go in or not. It appears that